Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today in this webinar when we're going to present some of the winners of the OIDP Award Best Practice in Citizen Participation 2025. We had the award ceremony like last month in Cordoba in Argentina during the conference, the award ceremony when we delivered these practices, these awards. And today we have the opportunity to discover some of these practices that have been awarded by this award on best practice on citizen participation. So now we have this session with 3 cases from Mersin, from Torino, and from Tilotama. And later today we'll have more session in a few hours. So if you want to join, we will have this session later on basically on Spanish. So for this session of today, we have, as I mentioned, like 3 cases from Mersin, Torino, and Tilotama. The first one is from Mersin. It's a special mention for gender and care. It's Experience Monday Talks that will be presented by Şerife, Hasoğlu, Dokucu, who's the Director of Women and Family Services Department of the Mersin Metropolitan Municipality. Then we will have Chiara Lucchin from the Regional Development Manager of the Torino Urban Lab, that she will be presenting the experience in Voci quartiere civic engagement for the new master plan of Turin, that has awarded with a special mention for the urban management and public space. And finally, we'll have Mr. Shankar Panti, an officer from the Tilotama Municipality, that he will be presenting the practice Green Clean Tilotama campaign that was awarded with a special mention of the most supported practice by the OIDP community. Just to mention that, as you can see on the screen, the publication is already it's on the websites of the observatory. So we really invite you to discover this practice with these amazing, not just the winners that are amazing, and we're going to be discovering now this practice, but many, like more than 137 practices that were submitted. That was submitted for this award. So we really encourage you to discover all these practices. And of course, we want to thanks all the cities and local and regional governments who submitted these practices, and of course, an acknowledgement to the winners of the practice. We can go with the Torino experience, this Voci quartiere.
Well, thank you very much, first of all, for this invitation. It was, I'm really honored to be here today to share this experience with you. I'm speaking for Torino Urban Lab, which is the city agency of the city. We are a participated organization. We are participated by the city and by the Compagnia di San Paolo, which is one of the 2 bank foundations of the town. And we received, well, we were asked by the city, by the municipality, by the city government to bring about this process that I will tell you about in this presentation. What is the project and what is the initiative related to? The city of Torino was deciding at the beginning of the mandate of our mayor, Stefano Russo, and quite old. It was approved and adopted in 1995. And given, how to say, the complexity of our regional law, which is actually the law that is governing the way in which cities are producing in our region their master plans, a long time it has been very difficult for cities to really decide to put in place a new master plan. So it was a bold decision. This is just to say, it was a bold decision. It was a political decision, and the other political decision that was made was that, given the fact that our law would have implied a very long time processing for the plan, and even if the city would be extremely virtuous and fast and effective, then the decision that was made was that we could take advantage of that time to expand the conversation with the local system of stakeholders and actually to put in place a process that was needed, because the plan is such an important law. It's most likely, in the case of Italian cities, one of the most important laws that the municipality can put in place. So it was very much needed that the definition of this law was participated, was open, was discussed with the manifold different components of the local system of stakeholders. So we started in June 2023, so it's 2 years now that we are working on that. And the first phase of this work was, I would say, rather traditional if we compare this then to what was happening later on, because we were starting the conversation with intermediate bodies, organizations, institutions. So I would say those players that already have an habit, already have an attitude, already have are quite used to have a relationship, a conversation with the municipality, with the public bodies of the city. We were organizing a number of events along the year. So we had like 3 very intense moments in June, October, and November, in which we were starting this conversation that was mainly related to the city as a whole. And that was, I would say, mainly focused in establishing the distance between the current city master plan, the current land use plan, and the perspective. So what we would need looking ahead in the future, which were the main things that are missing nowadays and that are really urgent to be solved in the next phases of the planning. And as you can see, we were working on a number of different tools. We had presentations, we had workshops, so we had info points here and there in the territory. We had online questionnaires. So the idea was, in any case, to try and intercept the highest possible number of people into this conversation. So along the first year, we had we could get in touch, at least with a survey with more than 6,000 people, and we had, from the institutional point of view, over 320 organizations in the city that were contributing to this process. Which were the phases? Well, here you can see this is the square we have in front of the municipal house, which is also the square that is hosting Torino Urban Lab, so our house. And this is the final moment of the first mini festival we had in June 2023. We actually articulated the 3 intense moments around different kind of conversations and different kind of activities. So the first one was more like really listening to the intermediate bodies and starting to intercept and define the main working areas, let's say the main reflection areas. Then in October, we went to a different level of how to say, institutional organization of the territories. So we were working with the constituencies, which are portions of our territory that are governed by specific presidents and representatives in the councils. So again, we were in a way intercepting the institutional level, though with a smaller scale. And again, in that case, we were working on trying to understand which ones were the most urgent and important matters in our local territory. Then when we moved to the November activity, we were more working with the stakeholder in a, I would say, in a collective learning process. So we were trying to discuss some of the things that were emerging with the help of external experts in order to understand in which way some specific topics could be further explored and could be really investigated at local level in our city. After this first year, there was an explicit request by the mayor, by the city government, to get closer to cities, to get closer to neighborhoods, to be to put in place a listening campaign that could also incorporate and engage those ones that normally do not come to public assemblies, those ones that have more difficulties in being heard on the one side, but also I would say on the other side, those ones that sometimes feel that the public debate is not for them. that they are not part of that specific conversation. So we changed completely our strategy, and in a while I will show you what we did. We moved, I would say, from very intense moments to a more disseminated agenda in the calendar. We moved from, you know, big quantities of people at the same time to, instead of, you know, kind of smaller events that were engaging like 20, 30, 40 people per time, not that much more. And we were changing really the scale that was bringing us into the city. So we were moving from neighborhood to neighborhood. Torino has got 34 neighborhoods, and the idea was that we wanted to have at least 1 or 2 contact points into our strategy for each neighborhood in order to better understand the local conditions. The other thing we did was a shift in the language and in the message. So while in the beginning the questions were, and the topics of conversation were very much related to the land use plan, so we were saying, okay, we are doing this process because the city is building up a new land use plan, and we need to have information from you. We need to have an interaction with you. In this case, we knew that if we wanted to establish a good conversation with citizens, we had to start from something more accessible, more interesting, and more stimulating. So the first question was, we want to know about the quality of life in your neighborhood. We want to know about the quality of public spaces. We want to know about the quality of housing, of connections, of mobility, of proximity services, which are actually all topics that are part of the city master plan. But we only said at the very end of the conversation, this information you are providing me is gonna be part of the reflection on the new city master plan. The other shift was that we were, I would say, switching on local entities, much smaller kind of organizations like the neighborhood houses, the cultural hubs, the youth centers, the local associations, the group, even informal groups that are active in the city, to have them on board and to ask them, help us reach out for the people, help us get into these conversations, also those ones that are normally set apart from the conversations on the future of the city. So so given this initial reflection, we were setting up a number of objectives that were related, of course, with the enlargement of the dialogue, with the kind of reflection we wanted to put in place, with the kind of places we wanted to activate for these conversations to take place. So we went to the markets, we went to the parks, we went in front of schools, and it was much more us moving in the city than asking people to come and meet us somewhere in some sort of an institutional or potentially institutional place. And this was really marking the difference for us. Then the other thing we did was to put in place analog and digital tools. Again, we did it in the first year. In this case, we were also exploring in which way digital tools could help us kind of expand the conversation and reach out for more people. And more in general, we were introducing playful, interactive elements, so trying to be very nice and attractive, and I would say not that much institutional, in order to, you know, also showing that we had an attitude which was very open towards the people and towards the organization. So we put in place for the last year a number of activities. We had, I would say, the most structured kind of thing we had was having meetings in the neighborhood houses, in the civic centers, that were discussions, collective discussions about the main topics we wanted to explore. So the discussions were geographically related. So we wanted to talk about those specific neighborhoods and the conditions in those specific neighborhoods, but they were also very informal, kind of playful. We had kind of, you know, very tight timing. We had the bell ringing when each phase was reached. We had food during the meetings, so with the idea that that was really a conversation and not kind of a, you know, a rigid kind of activity. We had walks in the neighborhoods. Actually, we were not guiding the people, but we were asking the local association to guide us, to show us the neighborhoods from their point of view, to show us the strong points, of course, to discuss about the critical issues, but it was kind of nice because in many cases the initial pathway that was established was changed during the walk, because people said, hey, no, we have to walk this way because I want to show you something. So that was extremely stimulating from our perspective. We had theater performances for kids in the parks and in front of schools, with the idea that as kids had fun, we could catch the families which are normally not coming to public meetings because the burden of having a family can have, you know, a high impact on the on the level of, on the capacity of family of parents to really join public meetings. And that was quite interesting because in many cases we were bringing theater in neighborhoods that are normally not used to that. So in some cases the parents also were having a look at these nice performances that were happening in the outdoor space. Then we had direct chats one by one with people. You can see here in this image our nice cargo bike, which was actually embodying the campaign. And the cargo bike was traveling the entire city and stopping by where people were gathering just to ask how it is to live here, what is the quality of life here. And we were recording hundreds of interviews which were directly taken in the streets. And then we had digital surveys, one at the beginning of the campaign, one at the end of the campaign. They had slightly different methodologies. In the first case, it was more like asking people to evaluate some specific things in their neighborhoods. In the second case, at the end, it was more like it had much more open answers, so it was much more specific, and it was also in a way leaving the possibility to people to be more specific and to describe what they wanted and to show some specific places. We had, you know, digital maps. You could really point specific things on the map within the survey. In this map, you can see how we were distributing the activities in the territory. So you can see that we were trying to get in contact with each neighborhood in the city. And in this second map, you can see how much the cargo bike was traveling in the city. It was like more than 400 kilometer trips that were made along 8-9 months. It was raining like hell last year, so it was kind of complicated also to bring about this program that was really putting outdoor space in the spotlight. But it was also quite interesting because of course we could experience and visit and see the many different urban conditions that Torino is offering. And again, you can see here a picture of our cargo bike, whose name is Alfonsina, to honor the first woman that was taking part to the Giro d'Italia bike race. So we were very proud about that, and we are missing it now because we are not having it anymore. So what's happening along the 2025 and what's going to happen in the next, I would say, couple of months, and how we are concluding this by the end of the year. After this large campaign we had during the 2024, we understood that there were two things we needed to do. On the one side, we needed to validate what we heard. So we have been working in the last months in preparing, like, you know, synthetic material that we could present again in the neighborhoods to say, hey, this is what we understood. Is it correct? Is it complete? Do we miss something? Is there something we really didn't get? Help us understand if this is a good approximation of what you think about your neighborhood. And we did that by elaborating the content and presenting to the neighborhoods. We had yesterday the last of the 10 meetings we had here and there in the neighborhoods to present the outputs of the 2024 campaign. At the same time, what we understood was that we still missed some areas of the local, some groups, let's say, some stakeholders, some people, some categories categories that, of course, we have in the city, but we couldn't really intercept with the campaign. So we were imagining a number of kind of vertical in-depth exploration of the city. They might be thematic, or they might be related to a target. So we had, in this sense, two paths that were co-designed. One was related to people aged between 18 and 35 years, asking them, is it your home? Is it Torino your home? How would you imagine conditions for you to stay in the city? And then the second one was related to the feminist, trans-feminist, and intersectional city. So in this case, we were co-designing with all the associations that are belonging to this area of the debate. In both cases, the 1835 and the feminist, trans-feminist, and intersectional city, we were first working on designing the interaction with them, with some representatives of these groups, and then launching a public event. So everybody could apply and join and come to discuss with us. So we were putting in place with the organizations and the people that were co-designing with us, actually the right questions, I would say. So we were trying to find with them the way to make the discussion interesting, to make the discussion stimulating, or also for these categories that were not touched by our previous campaign in 2024. What we're doing now, we will do it in July. We have 3 focus groups. One is dedicated to disability and the city, and in this case too, we are working with local associations. The second one is dedicated to second generations, new citizens, people that have a migrant background, that of course live in the city, but sometimes they do not feel they are citizens. So it's extremely important for us to really intercept them. And then the third focus group is kind of more technical and is related to work and production in the city. Torino has got a story of production. The development of the city comes from there. There was the post-industrial transition that was really changing the local economy. But one of the intentions of the city is really to keep production in the city and to understand which kind of production and in which way. So in this case, we're trying to work with all the different categories that are related to, you know, jobs, rights, production, different entrepreneurial perspectives, with the idea of trying to understand in which way we could reshape the physical city, also in the perspective of having, again, production in the city. By the way, the city master plan is actually a tool that is dealing with the physical components of the city. And then we are having, and that's the thing that is, I would say, it's one of the most fun and one of the most difficult conversations that we are having so far. We're starting a dedicated conversation to actually the citizens of tomorrow. So the guys and girls that are aged between 12 and 18. And we were preparing for them a digital survey that is being circulated also through the schools and the school directors. But also we are now visiting the summer camps with an activity which is a live, in presence workshop that is in a way pushing them to think about how they use the city, what they would like the city to be, which are the places they like, which are the places that they don't like, and why. And this is quite interesting because, of course, as long as you change the pair of glasses you're wearing to see the city, you really discover different things, different ideas, and also different potentials that the city can offer. What's happening in the next months? We are currently working, you see this in the background image, we are collecting what we heard and asking some local illustrators to put them, to organize some maps, some illustrated maps that are putting together the desires, the critical points, the interesting things that we were gathering at local level, and we will release 10 maps by the end of the year. We will have a final conference, I think, between mid-November and end of November, in which we will summarize all we did. This is more, I would say, dedicated to the stakeholders that we were engaging at the beginning, saying, hey, we were also listening to the citizens, and we would like to tell you in which way listening to the citizens, to the local organizations, going very close, as close as we could, has changed the plan, the way in which the plan is imagining the city of the future, the way in which the plan is dealing with the physical body of the city. And actually, this is not actually a deadline that is related to Urban Lab. This is more related to the city, to the municipality, and to the city offices for urban planning. By mid-December, the preliminary document of the land use plan will be released. It's called preliminary, but it's actually the document which is incorporating all the strategic orientations, all the, I would say, bold statements and orientations of the plan. So that's the document that is collecting all the important content, and it will be released by mid-December and discussed, of course, by the city council. I mean, there are, of course, institutional steps that have to be made. But one quite interesting thing is that all along the listening campaign, all along this year's activities, the city council, which is actually the body that has got the role and the task of approving the plan, was accompanying us. We had city councillors in the theater performances in the territory. We had city councillors that were coming to our meeting. The urban planning department is kind of meeting the councillors from time to time to explain how the plan is proceeding. So there is a lot of, I would say, interconnection between all the levels so far in order to really make the document something that is collaboratively and collectively prepared. We are quite sure this is going to be continuing next year, because our deputy mayor for planning is already promising every time we meet someone that we will come back and let people know how this is continuing. And for those ones of you that might be interested in this, all the material that was gathered so far and that will be gathered in the future is available in our website that's called Torino Cambia, that is collecting many, many things about the city, all the ongoing projects, but this is also having a dedicated section to the land use plan. So if you want to have a look at what we did so far, many things are already there. Many things will be there in the forthcoming months. I'm happy to answer to questions if there are any. And thank you so much again for this nice opportunity.
Thank you very much, Chiara. I think it was really complete presentation of the process. It's really an amazing process, because it is, I mean, for the city itself, because it's really a very important, as you explained, planification process of the city, urban planning. I mean, it's really a very comprehensive plan. And also, of course, by all the participatory approach. I think it was really interesting, and it was like awarded by the jury because they really funded that. And really, it's, I mean, you describe it very well, the different methodologies, the different, how you get to the different groups of the city, using playful tools and the different phases of the process. So it was really interesting. Also, I mean, it's great, all the feedback that you're showing. It's going to be having all this feedback to the people who participate in the process. So I think it's quite interesting. Okay, so I'm going to ask if anyone wants to ask any question to Chiara about this process. I mean, okay, please go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to apologize for my late participation to the presentation. I'm so sorry about it. I'm Lucchin from Istanbul, Turkey. I'm the director at MEF University Library. Also, I'm representing International Federation of Library Associations as the Europe Regional Division Chair, and I'm the incoming Regional Council Chair and governing board member of International Federation of Library Association. So, according to introducing myself, it's very clearly understandable that I'm highly interested in library side of your activities. If I missed anything at the first part of your presentation, Chiara, can you please explain what kind of communication do you have for your project? Because it's the libraries have a very mandatory and critical role for the citizen participation. So what kind of relations do you have with the libraries in your region and in your project? Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Actually, it's a very close relationship between the strategies that the city of Torino is putting in place, has put in place along the last years. There is quite a bold action over the libraries that are being, in many cases, refurbished and expanded, but also the very role of the libraries is being rethought as, you know, for sure, places for culture where you can, you know, enjoy and read and study, but also the idea is that to expand a bit their role towards the neighborhoods, towards the local society. So we had a lovely relationship actually with the libraries department of the city. In many cases, we had meetings in the libraries. The meeting we had yesterday, it was hosted by a library. We also did kind of prohibited things like eating in the library and celebrating in the library, but we were given the permission by the woman that is leading the department, and she was particularly happy to have us in there because she said this is a very good training for our employees to, you know, to start behaving differently towards the local communities. And it was, of course, a valuable mean for communication for us because there is a community around each library, and if the library is in a way communicating that a meeting is being hosted there, that the meeting is important, that the meeting is related to the neighborhood, this was helping us again, including in the process those ones that would otherwise not participate because maybe they didn't know, because maybe they do not really care, because maybe they do not really think this is for them. So this was extremely important, and the libraries jointly with other, let's say, extremely rooted, locally rooted organizations were the way we had to really reach out for people we couldn't really get otherwise. And this is one thing we were quite impressed was that many people in the city were telling us it's very clear that this is some sort of a collective work. So Urban Lab was facilitating this, but we do not tend to say, hey, this is designed by Urban Lab or this is on Urban Lab. This is on the territory. And there were many different relationships that were activated or strengthened that were helping us doing this as something we do together for the city, of course. So library were really crucial in this.
Thank you so much for the explanations.
Very nice. So thank you again for the question and for the answer, Chiara. We're going to move to the next practice, but then of course at the end, if we have a little bit more time, Chiara, if you want to say something.
No, sorry.
Okay. No problem. But at the end, if we have more time, of course, we can be discussing again. So now we move to this, that was awarded for the mention of best practice in urban planning. And now we're coming back to Mersin. Let's hope that now the connection will work. So that's the practice of gender and care, the Monday talks. Yes, go ahead, colleagues.
All right. Thank you very much for this opportunity to explain our works to you all. Mersin Metropolitan City, we work for Women and Family Services Department. I'm the director of the department. We have 3 managers working, one of them for Family and Child Services branch office, and the other manager works for volunteer coordinations, and the other one work for women services. Mersin is located on the Mediterranean coast of southern Turkey, which is distinguished by its cultural richness and historical legacy as a host to numerous civilizations. Owing to its strategic geographic position, expansive port facilities, free trade zone, and fertile agricultural lands, and well-developed industrial infrastructure, Mersin occupies a key role within the Turkish economy. The city's dynamic demographic structure, shaped by internal and international migrants, coupled with its high degree of ethnic diversity, fosters a vibrant and inclusive social environment. Women contribute significantly across various sectors, including agriculture, trade, cooperatives, handcrafts, and social entrepreneurs, thereby playing a visible and impactful role in both an economic and cultural development of the region. Weekly meetings with women's associations. In 2019, Mersin Metropolitan Municipality adopted a more systematic approach to participatory governance by strengthening the city's civil engagement mechanisms. Women and Family Services Department initiated a weekly women associations meetings to collaboratively design and improve municipal services for women in cooperation with active civil society organizations operating in this field. Women associations have taken an active role in local decision making, contributed directly to service delivery, and supported the development of the flexible, needs-oriented model shaped by evolving social dynamics. Our main objectives and goals, this woman friends are behind my back at the moment. We are meeting with these friends every Monday. That's why our name is Monday Talks. They are in the room at the moment. All right. The primary objective of the initiative of the strengthened collaboration between local government and civil society, ensuring that services targeting women become more inclusive, effective, and accessible. In this context, women's associations are encouraged to participate in local decision-making mechanisms, fostering needs-based policy development processes. At the same time, the model aims to promote key principles such as democratic participation, transparency, and accountability. Implementation process and methodological structure. This initiative launched in March 2023 and has been implemented through 4 main phases. First, the capacities of women associations operating across the city were assessed and comprehensive needs analysis was conducted. The second, a participation mechanism was established through weekly meetings during which associations were informed about the municipality's services related to women, children, the elderly, and rural areas. The third, coordination between municipal units and associations was strengthened, leading to the pairing of women's associations with rural neighborhoods and the implementation of joint activities in the field. And finally, feedback was collected, the impact of services was evaluated, and the model was institutional for sustainability. Our strategic approach to stakeholder engagement and communication. To ensure sustainable participation and broaden stakeholder outreach, the comprehensive and multi-channel communication strategy was implemented. Regular follow-ups were done through weekly phone calls, and personalized invitations was undertaken to promote engagement and support attendance and meetings. Additionally, a dedicated WhatsApp group was established. So, facilitate real-time information exchange among stakeholders, fostering more dynamic communication. The initiative enabled participation without formal invitation, allowing inclusive and voluntary engagement. Consequently, communications has evolved into a more horizontal and participatory model functioning effectively through both institutional and informal channels. One of the most innovative aspects of the model is the direct involvement of civil society organizations in both the planning and implementation of municipal services. By pairing associations with villages, the model has facilitated the rapid development of tailored context-specific solutions based on local needs. Weekly meetings serve as a platform through which municipal departments receive direct feedback from the field and adapt their services accordingly. Furthermore, expertise-based activities have been designed to enable associations to contribute actively to services in areas such as education, counseling, and social support. This inclusive and holistic approach addresses the needs of women, children, the elderly, and rural communities, generating sustainable outcomes that positively impact all segments of society. The initiative is underpinned by a model that places inclusively at its core. The priority has been given the disadvantaged groups, including women, children, the elderly, persons with disabilities, refugees, and residents of rural neighborhoods. Particularly have been established direct partnership between women's associations and villages to enhance access to services for women in rural areas. This approach has enabled the design and implementation of tailored interventions that reflect the specific needs of each community, thereby fostering a more equitable and responsive delivery of social services. Moreover, the upon meeting structure and field-based activities have further supported the direct and meaningful participation of diverse groups in the decision-making process. All data gathered have been evaluated within the framework of the municipality's strategic planning documents and the local equality action plan. Regular briefings presented during meetings, online reporting, and field observatory have served as key tools for assessing the initiative's impact or effectiveness. Feedback mechanisms have enabled the integration of insights from both citizens and civil society organizations into the process. As a result, the initiative has transitioned from the one of intervention into sustainable governance model granted institutional capacity of participatory practice. The Weekly Women Association meeting initiated has significantly enhanced the inclusively and effectiveness of services targeting women, children, the elderly, and persons with disabilities, refugees, and residents of rural neighborhoods across Mersin. During the implementation of period, in total of 79 meetings were held, facilitating direct engagement with hundreds of stakeholders, enabling the co-creation of on-site solutions to emerging challenges and broadening the outreach of social services, particularly in rural areas. The presence of women's associations in the field has been reinforced. Civil society organizations have become more actively involved in municipal service delivery, and the local culture of participatory democracy has been strengthened. In particular, support and educational activities targeting women in rural communities have increased social awareness and contributed to greater social problems. Overall, this initiative was designed in alignment with Mersin's multicultural fabric and has significantly enhanced collaboration between local government and civil society, unprecedented in its scale and depth. Civil society organizations and citizens involved into a more inclusive and horizontal structure. The model has ensured that democratic participation is meaningfully released on the ground. Long-term partnership and data-informed decision-making mechanism have secured and sustainability of the model positioning. It as a strong example of good practice that can serve as inspiration for other local authorities. This experience clearly demonstrates that participatory governance not only improves the equality of social services, but also fosters management structures that are more responsive to citizens' needs, thereby institutionalizing Mersin's culture of social solidarity. We have some samples of our works with this women group. This is village and association matchings, personal hygiene training in a village. There's another village association matching, personal privacy and boundaries education for children. That is cinema event for children. In a village, there's awareness activity on women's rights, human rights. Theater event for children, again, village and association matching. That is clothing support for students in a village that they need. That is for diabetic people, distribution of blood glucose meters. Again, educational support from a civic group to a village. These are part of volunteer people work for the municipality. They give their ideas and their effort to the works. This is our action plan. Second action plan was prepared for 3 years. And again, civic group that we work together. That is one print from Children's Assembly. With these groups of women, we teach them how to make toys and sell and earn money out of that. So we get together one day with them. There's another women group that we organize them these places for them to sell products which they produce in their house. These are the women group. We work art with them and we take them out sometimes in the nature. They make paintings and they get together. Again, university and municipality together, one health education they made to one group of women. Again, one workshop with the women. Generally about health, these are. And these are, this civic group support women to get stronger in politics. So they give them political education. This is making dolls in their house, and when they make these dolls from the socks, and then they sell them, not used socks. They get these socks from factories, and they make socks and they sell them as a toy to children. And our municipality support them. And the cycling ladies, we support them. And in the room at the moment, there are 4 of these groups. We cycle more or less every day in this bicycle roads, cycling sections. This is one of our major works. We support them a lot, and they support us a lot. This is again cycling group. We work equality in the same time. And this is our children works. They are dancing at the moment. Again, we support them. And thank you very much for your time and for this opportunity. Thanks for everything. And thanks for you, and thanks for UCLG. Thanks.
Thank you very much to you, Şerife, to all the colleagues, for all the women that participate in all this, in your program and in all these activities. So really, congratulations also for all the work you're doing. It's really great.